All right, hello and welcome to another Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl deck tech and gameplay session. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you are returning, thanks for coming back. We have KRYDLE of Bauldur'S Gate. We are playing Dimir Rogues in the Brawl format. He is a 2-mana 1/3, and whenever it attacks or deals damage or combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life and mills a card. Then you gain 1 life and scry 1. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So we can get some of our bigger creatures in for damages, or some of our smaller utility creatures in for damages. Let's go through the creatures. We have a few non-rogue creatures making their way into the deck just because of utility, and a bunch of non-creature spells, and then we'll get into some games. So we have Merfolk Wind Robbers, a 1-mana 1/1 flyer, and it's nice to get off the ground running with. We have 3 1-drops in the deck that are all fairly impactful. This one, when it deals damage, they mill a card, and then if they have 8 or more life or 8 or more cards in their graveyard, you can sacrifice it to draw a card. So it's efficient early game to start filling our opponent's graveyard, and then late game it can you can recycle it for something better, hopefully. Then we have Forsworn Paladin. This card, as I play more with these new cards from the Dungeons & Dragons set, is impressing me more and more. It is a 1-mana 1/1. It has menace. You can pay a black and a colorless and a life to tap it to create a treasure token. So it helps black decks that are not green have some kind of pseudo ramp, one-time ramp, which is very powerful. And also you can make your creatures bigger by +2/+0, and if you sacrifice a treasure to add mana to this, that creature also gains death touch until the end of turn, which is super valuable. We have Thieves Guild Enforcer, a 1-mana 1/1. It has flash, so it can come in and surprise block if you need to block something. When it or another rogue enters battlefield, mill 2 cards. So we're not trying to mill people to win the game, we're trying to mill people to enact other cards in the deck. And as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in your graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has death touch, so it can be good late game and efficient early. We have Ghostly Pilferer, 2-mana 2/1. When it becomes untapped, you can pay 2 to draw a card, so it's got some card draw on a stick. Also, whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. So if it's on the battlefield and your opponent casts a card from the Foretell Zone or their own commander, you get to draw a card, which is good, and you can discard a card and make it so it can be unblockable till the end of turn. Thieving Skydiver, here's another rogue. It has flying, it's a 2/1, and it has kicker X, where X can't be 0, and you get to steal an artifact with converted mana cost X or less, and if that's an enchantment, put it on Thieving Skydiver. So it's one of our ways to deal with artifacts in a blue-black deck. Utian Malison, one of the new cards. It has venture into the dungeon if it deals combat damage to a player, and if it attacks alone, it becomes unblockable. And the venture in the dungeon in this kind of thing, we don't have many ways to do it. I think this might be the only one. It's more of a utility. Let's get a little bit of extra value out of one of our rogues. And we have the standard staple restoring Thought Thief, 2-mana 1/3 flash flyer. And if you have 8 or more cards in your opponent's graveyard, your rogues get +1/+0. And whenever 1 or more rogues attack, you get to mill 2 cards of your opponent's library, fueling our other rogue cards. We have Glasspool Mimic. It enters as a land, but it can also enter as a copy of any of your rogues that you want it to. Brazen Borrower can bounce in on land permanent with this Petty Theft. It is also a 3/1 flash flyer. Can only block flyers, but it's still an efficient beater. Shadow Stinger, 3-mana 1/4 rogue. You can tap another rogue you control to give it death touch, so it's a great blocker. And if it deals combat damage to a player, that player mills 3 cards, so it helps get the cards in the graveyard once again. Bargroth Blood Sky Sire, 3-mana 2/3. It has death touch, so it's a great attacker and a great blocker. And it has Boast from the Kaldheim format, and you can choose target player and they look through their library, put a card on top of your deck. So if you can do this 2 or 3 times, at least if you do it once, you get good value. If you do it twice, you get fantastic value. You do it 3 times, the game's probably over. Yeah. Murderous Rider can kill something with a swift end, creature or planeswalker, and then it is a 2/3 lifelinker on the other side for 3 mana. Nighthawk Scavenger is one of those cards that pays off for having cards in the graveyard. Flying Death Touch Lifelink, and it has 1 plus the number of cards in card types among cards in your opponent's graveyard. So it can get fairly big fairly quickly and be an efficient blocker and an efficient attacker. Rankle Master of Pranks, 4 mana 3/3 flash or flying haste. It helps us get rid of cards in our opponent's hands. We have to discard something too, but that's not the end of the world most of the time. Each player loses a life and draws a card, so if you need life or if you need cards, you can draw a card. Hopefully you can use it before they do. And then each player sacrifices a creature, so if we need to get something out of the way and they only have 1 creature, we have something we're willing to sacrifice. It can help with that. We have Sir Conrad the Grim, is a non rogue creature in the deck. 5 mana 5/4. It's in here because whenever a card gets milled or a creature dies or a creature gets put into a graveyard in any way, each opponent loses 1 life. So it helps, and also we can help put cards in our opponent's graveyard with this activated ability of a black and a colorless. Each player mills a card, so it helps give us a little bit of reach. It's also a pretty solid body. One of our really good graveyard payoff cards is Xerath the Trickster, 5 mana 4/4. It has flash. It also has an activated ability of return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its owner's hand. Put Xerath the Trickster from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So when it deals combat damage, you can put a permanent card from a player's graveyard under your control. So if you can end up milling something powerful, maybe even on turn 4 with one of our many rogues that want to attack, we can grab something great from our opponent's graveyard. We have 2 big creatures. We have Lochmere Serpent, 4 mana 7/7, or 6 mana 7/7 I should say, with flash. You can sacrifice an island to make it so it can't be blocked. You can sacrifice a swamp to gain a life and draw a card. You can exile target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Return Lochmere Serpent from your graveyard to your hand. You can only do this on your turn, but it helps us pull out the cards that we don't want our opponents to have access to after we have milled them. And our final creature in the deck is Xanathar Guild Kingpin, 6 mana 5/6, one of the new legendary creatures from the Dungeons and Dragons set. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Till the end of turn, that player can't cast a spell. You may look at the top card. They can't cast spells, so they can't do anything on your turn. And you get to look at the top card of their library at any time, and you can play a card from their library and spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast the spells. So you could play lands off the top of their deck. If you are ahead and you don't want them to draw a spell and there's a land on top, you could just leave the land there and get massive advantage that way from Xanathar Guild Kingpin. Those are the creatures in the deck. What do you think? Comment below, like, subscribe, notify. We're gonna run through the non-creature spells fairly quickly and then get into some games. So we have Opt, just drawing a card. Bloodchief's Thirst, destroying a small creature early, anything later. Erebos' Intervention, as the game goes longer, the X can get bigger, so you can either destroy a bigger creature or you can exile more cards from a graveyard. We have Negate to counter non-creature spells to make sure our stuff stays alive. Check for Traps, one of the new discard spells from the Dungeons and Dragons set, and we can get rid of any card we want out of our opponent's hand as long as it's a non-land. Feed the Swarm, destroys a creature, destroys a enchantment. Bound on a Lock, one of our payoffs for putting cards in our opponent's graveyard. Depending on how many cards in the graveyard, you can counter a spell or destroy a creature. Rogue Class, one of the new rare enchantments from the set. So it's black, blue, and its original thing is whenever one of your creatures deals combat damage to a player, you can exile the top card from that player's library and look at them as long as they're exiled. Level 2, creatures you control get menace so they can attack easier. Level 3 for 4 mana, you can play cards exiled with Rogue Class and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So I thought it was pretty flavorful to add this into the deck. Arcane Signet, taps for a blue or a black. Saw it coming, counters a spell. Frika's Libation, we can get rid of if our opponent only has 1 enchantment, we can make them get rid of that. Same with creatures. And late game, it's one of Black's ways to deal with enchantments. Skyclave Relic, we get 1 mana rock for 3 mana or 3 mana rocks for 6. Behold the Multiverse, just a very good draw spell, drawing 2, scrying 2 and drawing 2. We have Eat to Extinction, exiling a creature or a planeswalker. That means they can't use it again. And then you can put the top card of your library into your graveyard, so you kind of have some card selection there. Extinction event, depending on what we have out and what our opponents have out, you can pick odd or even and exile the mana cost of the creatures that are of the most value for your opponent. We have Loth Spider Queen, 5 mana, 4 loyalty planeswalker. Anytime a creature you control dies, you put a counter, loyalty counter, pay 0 to draw a card to lose a life. -3, you get 2/2 black spiders that can block really well because they have reach, and they can attack really well because they have menace. -8, if an opponent will lose less than 8 life, they lose the difference. So they're losing 8 life no matter what. If you get to its ultimate, Ashiok Nightmare Muse, 5 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker, it's +1, you get a 2/3 black and blue Nightmare creature token that exiles 2 cards of your opponent's library when it attacks or it blocks. -3, you get to return a non-land permanent, they have to exile a card. -7, you can cast up to 3 spells from among face-up cards your opponents own in exile without paying their mana costs. And if you can get to that, quite often people will scoop. We have Professor Onyx, another powerful planeswalker, 6 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or copy it, your opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. +1, you lose 2 life. You get to look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand, 2 in your graveyard, so some card selection. -3 makes your opponent sacrifice the creature with the greatest power, so you can destroy probably what their biggest threat. -8, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life, and you repeat this 6 more times, so they have to do that 7 times. And then we have Alrund's Epiphany, take an extra turn, get 2 1/1s, then it's exiled 1, cast it. We got a bunch of lands in the deck, as you can see. And yeah, that is KRYDLE of Baldur's Gate. Let's get into a couple of games. Well, let's see if we can handle Kinnan. I haven't played Kinnan against Kinnan in a long time. Yeah, I think we can keep this. This could go very bad for us. Kinnan is one of the stronger creatures in the format because it just can ramp out things super quickly. Oops, I forgot to opt. That's okay. Not the end of the world. Ashiok will be good for us eventually. We can opt next turn. I'm probably destroying this if they cast it. And I will be destroying, we'll do this. Yeah. Let's attack. We will choose that. Next. Put a stop there so we don't forget. I think we want to dig for lands. They have 2 cards in the graveyard now, so this counters that if we can get to our next turn. All right, let's opt now so we don't forget. Land, please. Black land, please. That is not a land. Might be helpful though. I think we need to dig for lands. I really do. There we go. And we have the lands we asked for. Have to target there. We make sure we hit decline. We just keep hitting all of their lands. That could be fun. We'll eventually get to it. We need some threats for the late game. Alright, so we will drown this. Because there's 3 cards in their graveyard now. Counter target spell. And they have mystical dispute, sure. Now before we steal this, I think we need to do this. Another. Well, I guess we're not doing that. All right, they have 5 mana. Make our kitty cat the color, this color. And let's teleport woo-wee, up to the top. I'm not blocking. I guess we could have attacked and made this unblockable, but this can pretend to hold up something. X is 4. Guess that goes to my hand. Right. I think we steal this. Let's choke their manas. They did miss the land drop. They do have 7 power, but we have a 5/6 coming. Or I might. Blue. What does that mean? A weird way for the auto tapper. I think we just play the kingpin. I don't think we can afford to take another turn off to ramp. Yeah, let's jam the kingpin, see what happens. I'm sure this is a counterspell of some kind. Why would they keep blue? Or it's a bounce spell? We shall see. 1 more land and they can activate this. Let's play with their hand. Hopefully we can play with their deck. If it's not all that good, we will play Ashiok and bounce the elemental and make them exile something. They're reading the card. Now, Koglug would be bad for us. Thorn Mammoth would be bad for us. A lot of things could be bad for us. Nyx Bloom Ancient. Yikes. That is on top of their... I guess we bounce this. 7 mana, right? I don't really want to... I think that might give them the opportunity to cast. I'm okay with them having a land. Now I think we do this. I'm gonna bounce their Kinnan so they 1, 2. Now they have to recast the Kinnan, which is gonna suck up 2 of their mana, so they can't recast this. Oh. We'll attack for 2. We knew the land was there. It's fine. All right. I have 6 mana to play with. And a Shark Typhoon. That's a land. I think that's okay. I don't think we need to worry about that. Or do we play it? Because we are not hitting a land drop. What else is on top? Signet? You can have that. That's just mana. It's also a 2/2 flyer. I think we play this. And let's here. Yeah. Decline. I think I have to play this on. We have 2 flash flyers. Let's do this. And hopefully this Shark Typhoon doesn't run away with the game. Basically plays for itself. EUK. I think, well, that spells trouble. This. Sure. Do this. That Shark Typhoon is going to take over. That's a land. Now my question is, do we want to try and dig through their library? I think we do. Alrund's Epiphany. That's nice. Alright, we're gonna plus this. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna attack with this. And they're going to give up. Alright. The power of playing off the top of your opponent's library. Alright, let's get into game number 2. Mono ramp. We can keep this for sure. This is nice. This can take away any artifact that they have. This likes to block. This can blow up something. We get the scry. Land is nice. 1 blue is kind of hard, but I think I want to get this train rolling first. They're gonna have a hard time stopping this until they get more lands. There's another blue. Let us. We want to be aggressive. We could be aggressive and go here. Nah, I think we should do this. That's a land. We don't need another land. We want action. I think I'm gonna do this. I know it's not mana efficient. This is the most mana efficient play, but this helps fuel this. We're gonna do this. Azusa. So they can play a 6-drop next turn. That is sketchy. Do they block? People don't like getting milled. Let's create a gobbo because I want to get to here. And we do this. Might as well do it now. Go get ourselves a blue. I'm going to hold up the murderous rider. Because they're probably gonna have, oh yeah, they got lots of mana. 7. Yep. This is why we hold up this. We're ready. We're ready. I'm gonna get ya. Good night, sweet Kogla. Alright, let's do this. Do I offer up this trade? This drown on the lock, not doing too much right now. I'm going to do this. Start powering up this drown in the lock. Let us put that on the bottom. What did we mill? Interesting. So I can put this on 3rd from the top. Nylea, how many do they have? They have 2. Questing Beast. Ruh-roh. Another land. This is an enchantment. Attack for 1. Auto pay. Yes. That's cool. This is now a 3. So it can block the questing beast now, unless they do the worm thing. If they do the worm thing, then I can't block questing beast. I wonder if they see that line. It moved into attacking. I will trade. Sure. I know she had the gate there, but hey, what can you do? Why would you play that as a land? Oh, this protects that. That's annoying. I guess we just keep doing this. Or do I get in with this? Let's get in with this. It's already unblockable. We can decline. Put that there. And do I play this? No, I want to hold up both of these. We end the turn. And this. You can drown this, make them sacrifice whatever creature they have. I mean, okay. Which one do you want to keep? My guess is you're keeping the Trask. Oh, I'm guessing you're... incoming... Oh, you're gonna make something fight? Trask is going to kill my world. Kingpin. Well, there's not much. The Kingpin's not going to hang around. Well, let's draw a card. A land. I can do this, this, and see what happens. But I think the Trask is gonna kill us. Gonna fight KRYDLE again? Wait. No blocks now. Okay. I don't really understand what Azusa does right now. I put this. They attack it. I block for 6 and we're not dead. We're very close to dead. Oh, now we're very dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can take an extra turn. Each player loses a life. We do that, that puts them to 6. Take an extra turn. What a card to draw off the top. And then we play Ashiok. And then we return Azusa to their hand. And we win the game. Alrund's Epiphany. So strong. Too strong. Unless they have an instant speed fight spell. But we still have, yeah. Or they have gain life through an instant speed. Kind of thing. And we got there. Wow. What a couple of top decks. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Wherever you are in the world. The deck is fun. You can see it win. I got a little bit lucky in that last game, but hey, that's magic. Take care. For Mr. Pisto, you stay safe. Bye for now.